Welcome to the Podcast Without Fear, a podcast all about Netflix's hit show Daredevil. I am your host, Zachary Hare, another man without fear. And with me, of course, is Jesse Jackson. No, not that one.
That's right. It is the Reverend here to talk about
I just
Daredevil.
said you weren't the Reverend.
Oh, well, no, I'm not the Reverend, but I am the Reverend. The man, the guy that is so ready to talk Daredevil tonight.
You sound like you're a wrestler. I am the
I'm
Reverend.
ready. Look here, brother.
I will lay you down and you will
Brother.
see the Lord.
That's it.
So we were, of course, talking about Nelson v. Murdock, and probably my favorite episode title of this season.
It was, you can see the titles. And when I saw this one, I knew that this was oh God, what's going to happen on this? Where we're going to go? And we get the secret origin.
Yes.
Of Foggy and Matt's friendship.
That's the great thing about this being a Netflix show. They can dedicate of course it goes back and forth, but the episode is essentially their backstory. And because it's Netflix, because they can map out the whole season, they can just go, okay, let's dedicate this episode to how they met.
Yeah, and it's just so well done. It sets their friendship. It shows, and I think this, in talking overall themes, this really sells why Foggy is so mad and hurt and disappointed.
Exactly. Now, what I find quite fascinating, of course, we get the scene in the beginning where he says, "Are you even?" He says, Claire patching him up, and then he early says, "Are you even blind?" I love that line.
Yeah, I mean, that's just wonderful. And, I would have the same question, going, well, wait a minute, why, what do you mean? Because I know this is a world where billionaires put on armors and the Norse god visits, but a blind man can't do what Matt does.
Right.
And he just doesn't, it's like it's quicker to believe that Matt's been lying to him,
right?
As long as they've known each other.
It makes it, and this is why, again, Netflix is a perfect outlet for these kind of characters like Punisher and Blade and Ghost Rider. Which now that Marvel has the rights again, there's rumors that's what I think a Punisher series has been confirmed actually. And what I mean is because of Punisher, of course they've had titles where he's interacted with other Marvel characters and different stuff. I mean, there's been some weird. I mean, obviously the two weirdest storylines of Punisher, three. Let's say three. The one with the Hood, Frankencastle, and the one where he was tasked by angels. Those are the three weirder Punisher storylines. But people gotta remember, Punisher is just like again like Daredevil, like even Iron Fist, like the Heroes for Hire. While these are all heroes in the Marvel Universe, they usually deal with normal stuff. And that's along the same lines.
Yeah, they are worried about the day-to-day, trying to make their city/neighborhood a better place, not worrying about, on a global scale,
exactly
all the stuff that's happening.
Now, what I find perfect about this backstory is that it shows that they probably did talk to, or at least the actor, and definitely the writers talked to some few blind people, the researcher, is that they become friends because the second Foggy meets them, he says, "Oh, cool, you're blind. We're going to use that to get girls." And you would think someone would be like, "Oh, that's so offensive," but a blind guy was like, "Oh, he's treating me like I'm human."
Yeah, and I was really happy they mentioned that he said, "I'm usually treated like I'm fragile," and to have them go, "No, dude, I'm so you're good looking. Plus, you got the blind thing happen. I am going to get a whole nother level of girls that I've only dreamed about a lot." It's just very, very funny.
Yes, we're getting that from what I'm going to call Grunge Foggy.
Yes, he is. Absolutely.
Oh God, I'm surprised he doesn't have a soul patch. But I know I didn't even notice they did this. If you look at the cutaway from that scene, past Foggy standing up, and then they quickly cut into current Foggy stood up, which is interesting.
Yes, I saw that.
Now, of course, you gotta love Foggy saying, how many fingers am I holding up?
Yes, and the one special finger was the one going up.
I think
And
but although even if he wasn't Daredevil, I think he could have guessed.
yes, I think so too.
Now, what I think is interesting is that he's talking about he's trying to explain how he sees the world, and obviously Foggy's like, wait, so you can see? He's like, no, not exactly, not listening. He's like, no, I get it, world on fire, but you can see. But what should be mentioned is this is the same thing he said to Claire. Now, saying it to Claire, it was like foreplay. It ain't foreplay here.
No, it wasn't. And I love the fact that Foggy kept going, I don't understand. Keep talking to me. Explain to me what you're saying. That doesn't make any sense. And like later he talks about, well, what kind of mind powers do you have? Can you see the future? What can you do? So it's very nice.
What is perfect? What makes these both the past and this one works is that although I do like when Matt's like, "Would you expect me to say hi? My name is Matt. By the way, I was blinded and now I have heightened senses."
Yeah, I had gook in my eye. Well, I'm not lead with that.
Yeah. Now, like I said, these guys obviously have been friends for years, and this is how it would go. Like a friend is not gonna take your bullshit. He's gonna be like, no, I'm not. He's like, no, I can see a world on fire. And like I said, that worked on Claire, but he's his best. He's like, no, forget that. Explain it. Like he's not. And that's what a friend would do. A friend can see through your crap.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he is, right? He is sitting there saying, I'm not, this is BS.
Hmm. And I like how he's like, did you kill those people? He's like, you even have to ask. He's like, yeah, I do. That, and
Yeah.
if you notice, they allowed a tear to run out of his eye when it's like Matt's realizing how Foggy's seeing him now. And although I do like, he's like, who did this to you, Fisk and Nobu? He's like, who's Nobu? He's like, I think he's like a ninja. And Foggy's like, I almost want Foggy to go, you're dealing with ninjas!
Yeah.
But he pretty much says in his reaction.
What is this? Yeah. It was
and then
awesome.
He's got to lie to Karen about what happened to Matt. I like how Karen's like, Matt was driving?
Yes, I caught that too, and he's so. I just lied to somebody I care about.
I like if you like the pictures he's got of her as a phone, the way like his strong feelings for Karen. I cannot wait to see where that goes.
Yeah, and it was really interesting because Matt's phone it's Karen, the ringtone. And then, Foggy shows her, and you could tell he said, look, I want to have a photo assigned to your contact. And so, she made a silly face, for him.
Right.
And Foggy is so hurt. That's, so just, I can't believe this guy that I have loved has been a brother to me. Has a secret, a big secret.
And from there, we go to a very important scene because it drops some Easter eggs, in my opinion, and important plot points. Also, with Fisk, the scene with Fisk and Gal, and the way it's shot is just amazing. The faraway shots, the way they angled the city. I don't know how whoever did the second unit in this is real, or the director too, is really good.
Yeah, this was an awesome scene. Exactly.
Now, like, I like how Gal's like, are you coming after me next? And the thing is, we don't know if he is or not, because obviously they have more history than the others.
Yeah, to give you a little background, I believe that was the same scene where in Spider-Man, one of the first movies, Peter brings Mary Jane to that rooftop. And it is...
it's a real location.
It is a real location. It is to show you how I cannot hide my geek. Years ago,
you went there and jumped off the building.
No, but I was. We were at the Rockefeller Center, and my wife's company had offices there at the time, and so the co-president of her company, had her in his office, and he goes, and oh look, he said, there's a garden. When you look down, there is a garden. He says, very few people are ever there. He says every once in a while photo shoots or something. And I couldn't resist saying, that's the scene on Spider-Man, right? And he's just staring at me. What are you talking about? And my wife's like, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. So I always think of that.
Right.
But it looks like that scene. It looks like it's the same place. So go check out the Spider-Man Tobey Maguire version, and I believe it's the same place.
Yeah, so when you go to New York, be sure to sign up for Jesse's Marvel
Yes.
Studio Tours, where he
Absolutely.
visits locations in New York.
Yes.
There's the shawarma place.
Yes, there it is. There we go. Yes.
Which, from what I hear, the shawarma place was real.
I did not know that. We would have to check that.
I'm pretty sure it is. I think I heard a rumor that scene where they're all eating was like real. Like they were like that was like really the cast eating together, and the director decided to film it.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
I mean, if it's true, I hope it's true. Now back to this scene. What so much important stuff, and like I wonder, like is Fisk gonna go after? We don't know. Because obviously he probably doesn't approve of her. It's a necessary evil, but he respects her too. But she's smart enough to know that. Obviously, she knows that he might come after her. So we have no idea. Their relationship is quite interesting.
And I love her. She talks about you don't have your man with you, and he says we don't need to anymore. And they speak in Japanese. I assume it's Japanese.
No, it was Japanese before.
Right.
This, I believe, is Mandarin.
Okay, that makes more sense. And then she speaks in English.
Yes.
And you can't be savior and oppressor both.
Yes, and choose
which one you have to do.
I love that choose, and she says like you can't and that's another important plot point in this episode. She's saying like you can't like Vanessa is she doesn't say Vanessa, but obviously that's what she means is a weakness for her. It's like they have this it's almost like adversary friend relationship. It's great to watch. It really is.
Absolutely.
And and there's an important Easter egg here when she's talking about Nobu. Did you catch it?
No, share.
She says they are preparing his body. I'm thinking if they are indeed the Hand, and it's I think in my opinion, it's very clear that they are, I think we're going to see Nobu again.
Ooh.
The Hand resurrection ceremony.
I did not think that.
For those of you who don't know, in the universe, there's an organization called the Hand. There are a bunch of ninjas. As we said, they were originally good, but then they got taken over by bad guys. And in the Marvel universe, when a high-ranking member is killed, they can be resurrected. And no, if I'm right, I don't think there's any strings attached to the resurrection. Not really. I think it's just like you can just be it depends on who's writing it. So Elektra has been resurrected many times. So, although I wonder if they're gonna ever, because in the comics when a Hand ninja gets killed, they just puff it out in smoke.
Right. I don't know.
I doubt we'll get that because that's probably it'll probably look
too much. Yes.
You know what? It'll probably look. Well, you know what they could do instead of just a puff, maybe they just kind of fade like there's nothing left but the clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think if they do the puff of smoke, it'll look too much like a vampire being killed in Angel.
Yeah, exactly.
So but I definitely think they're making reference to the resurrection.
Yeah, ceremony. I think so.
I'm calling it Nobu's coming back.
Okay, very good. We got it on the record.
Okay, so from that great scene with Fisk and Gal, we get back to Fogg, and Fogg is just so hurt. No, wait, sorry, no. Next scene is Yorick and his wife.
Yes, it gives us a lot of context. We knew she'd been sick, and now then we know it's,
Alzheimer's.
Yes, and they're not going to. The extension doesn't get approved, and we're in a bad place.
Now they use the Alzheimer's in a very interesting way here. When she's coherent, she's like, "You're a fighter. You're not giving up. That's not who you are." And in any other scene, he's like, "Yeah." He's like, you thinking, "Oh, he's gonna carry the fight," but then a second later, she goes back and they're like, "Where am I? Oh, look, it's you, gorgeous." So this scene, he gets inspired and deterred at the same time, and that is just amazing to watch.
Yeah, I agree.
So I love, and then now we get Matt and Foggy, and like I like how he's like, wait, still, how did you? Your dad was a boxer. How did you do that? A blind man called Stick. And Foggy's like, it's just like with a ninja. Foggy's like, a blind old man taught you the ancient ways of martial arts. Isn't that kung fu?
Yeah, it was like, what? Wait a minute. What? I thought we were going to talk honestly.
Because
You know?
the thing is, we all, of course, you and me are obviously comic book geek, but imagine, and we know comic books like if someone passed us a comic book, oh, this is about a blind guy who's got special senses and he can see, and you're like, oh, let's read this. It's not. But imagine if today someone walked right up to you and said, I'm blind, I can sense this and that, and you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna make a call. What size straitjacket are you?
Yeah, exactly. It literally would.
Oh, I love this one. Foggy says, like, "What is it?" Like you said, like, are you Can you read mind, see the future? What? He's like, and he tells him, "I know you like this. I know you did that. I know you did that." And he's like so free. And then when he realizes he finds out about Matt being able to read heart, that he's a human lie detector. And
Right.
and I like how he uses the fact that they're lawyers. Like that's an invasion of privacy. That was cool.
It was, and also the idea you've known every time I've lied since we've
Yes.
met.
Oh, and how about
And
if you weren't half dead, I'd kick your ass in my line? He goes, nope.
yes, because that's such a, you're naked all of a sudden,
Mm.
and
And I think it should be referenced. Another reason he probably gets mad. I just saw this. It's Karen's heartbeat he was listening to.
yes, absolutely. And he is protective of Karen. And it's like, as you said, such an invasion of privacy. And you should know this. You're an attorney, Matt. You're the good guy.
And I love how we go back to we go to a flashback and we find out even though Foggy took Punjabi, he can't speak it.
Yes, yes, that's really nice.
Well, it could be just because he was drunk, but even so, he can't. He's not fluent in it, obviously. And we get a very, very important Daredevil Easter egg here.
Yes, we do. Well, and they call it Electra without saying Electra.
Well, the hot Greek girl he met in college.
Yes, yes,
Because a few Daredevil takes have retconned it that he met her in college first.
yes,
I'm
absolutely.
curious. I mean, I haven't looked it up, so I don't know. I mean, we're probably not gonna get her this season, but I bet we'll get her next one. I wonder who it's. I mean, there's so many actresses you could pick, and I think they will. But one thing that's bugged me about Elektra, and they did this. It's one of the many reasons the movie was bad. And the thing you can never ever make her a straight up hero ever.
Yeah,
There was a storyline where these two ex-Shield agents were going after Elektra, and no one was sure why. And Elektra didn't even know why, because at the time she was trying to be a good guy. And they're going full bore after Elektra, and she's like, I didn't do what you said I did. I didn't do it. Then it turns out she blocked her own memory, and she did do. She killed a bunch of Shield agents and took down a hero carrier. Now, of course, I'm not exactly agreeing that they should have Elektra do that, but still, she's an assassin. She can be an anti-hero, but she can never be a
yes,
straight up hero. She's a killer.
absolutely.
She's like the Punisher. She's like Wolverine. She's
Yeah,
Deadpool. She kills. Now, whether that's good, how much, again, depends on who's writing for her. But she can't be straight up hero. I
I
just
could
hope
see
they get
that.
it right, and I hope they get it right, and I think they will.
Yes,
They have yet to introduce a character and get it wrong at all. I don't think I've seen anything in this show that makes me look and go like the only person they've changed majorly was Fisk, but I like their changes with him.
yeah, absolutely. And I think they keep the spirit of what he is, so that's good.
And I can't wait to see who plays her. I bet they'll get someone good.
Absolutely.
So we get the scene where back in the present, pretty much Yurik's boss telling him to take an easier job. That's pretty much what the whole scene is. And Yurik is thinking about it.
Yeah, he's saying, get you off, a little better pay, a little better health insurance in case, and they're talking about I know you don't want to talk about what's going on with your wife, but still we've got to think about, I know something's going on. So, yeah.
Which I just keep thinking about how the fact in the I don't know how if he still is, but for a while in the comics, Fisk was controlling the Hand. I mean,
Yes.
I don't know if they'll go there with. I mean, because they're going to come after him now. So I can't wait to see where they go with it. Oh God, imagine if it turns out Daredevil and him have to team up to take on the Hand.
Oh, that would be cool.
Mm.
Yes.
So we get the so of course he goes to Karen and says, "I'm going to get here's all the stuff I have. I'm going to give it all up, whatever." And then Karen says, let's just take a drive. I want to show you the place." So from there, we get a scene with Fisk, Leslie, and Leland, and Leland's telling him to, like, just like and apparently we find out that Leland has been talking, like, has communications with Gal without Fisk, which is very interesting. And I like how he's
Yes.
like, give up this woman, and he's like, you have a son, yes, so you met a woman. It's like, what does it have to do with this? And I am so agreeing with Fisk. It's like, wait a minute, you're telling me who I can and can't see?
Yes, I agree. And Leland is a little bit of a weasel.
Oh, you have to be.
Yes. I mean, he'll always be, and we've talked about this before, the warden in Shawshank, which is one of my favorite movies.
One of his best roles, definitely.
Yes, and so this whole, and I was happy that Fisk subtly told him, watch what you're saying.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so, which will be a very important thing we can talk about in a few minutes. But first,
Absolutely.
back to Matt and Foggy. I like how we get a little. So we do get some insight how he can hear things. It's not like how some takes are, like he hears everything at once and it can almost drive him. No, he can focus through his training. He can focus on what he hears and what he doesn't hear. And I'm really glad they said that.
Yeah, I do too.
And he tells Foggy he's never killed someone. And I love when I forget if it's this scene or the next one where he says, "If you could have put on a mask and stopped the people that killed Elena, would you have?" And Foggy knows he would have.
Yeah, and it sets up a good question and a good discussion. And Matt, we stories are best, and I'm repeating myself, when your good guy isn't always good and your bad guy isn't always bad.
Yeah.
And
So,
that's a dilemma, right?
exactly. And so we see here another flashback, and we get another in the office when they like the company going after the guy on a freaking breathing tube. But there was an Easter egg here as well. The Roxxon Corporation, a Marvel, a big well, their level of evil and involvement again depends on who's writing. But it was a nice little throwaway
Yes,
thing.
it was a very good throwaway line.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I don't mind them putting in as a throw. Oh, Roxanne. Oh, yeah, that's see, because we're Marvel. But then we get to see where Matt's like, I can't do this anymore. I want to defend good people, and we find out how he convinced. I love Foggy's like, I'm gonna take some bagels and see how much stuff I can fit in this box.
And this is your payoff on why he's so mad.
Right.
They were on the fast track to be successful, to have money, and Matt says, I want to make a difference. I believe we serve a greater good. And Foggy, out of love for him, said, okay, I'm there all in. And to not share with him some time that, and he talks right, like, do you not think I would have gotten in trouble if you had gotten arrested? You honestly, people would believe I didn't know about this? Yeah, great payoff.
So from there, we go on to Ben and Karen. Nice little scene in the car where he's talking about. So they go to this nursing home, and so at the moment we just think he's showing around, but that was a short scene. It goes right back to and Matt tells him about how he tried not to. That the reason is because he could hear the sirens, he could hear the pain in the city, and that he tried to resist it, but then the story about the little girl and her father. And how when he beat, like the law could not help her, so he had to. So he stepped in and stopped the father from hurting her. And I think the scene where he beats him up is very important because he doesn't just stop him; he brutalizes him.
they show that scene. He beats him within an inch of his life.
Mm.
He wants him to be afraid, and I think they send the message. I'm curious your thought is, Matt liked doing that.
Well, they say this here. Foggy says, you had to have kept up your training to have been doing it, and he's right. And I said, well, I think that's the whole point. It's like I said earlier, he's not Daredevil yet. He's got to find his balance. And that's what's great about this being a Netflix show. They can spend this whole season. The whole season is an origin story, which you can't get on a normal TV show because of time limits, because any second you might get canceled. But this one, if you get approved for one season, you're approved for the whole season, and they can do the whole story, and I think that's important. But like Foggy says, you're doing it because you like it, and Matt says, I don't want to stop.
No, he doesn't.
I cannot wait. I mean, I'm sure this will be they'll keep going with him finding balance, him finding his purpose, and I cannot wait to see where they go with it.
Yeah.
And from there, we're back at the nursing home. They meet some old woman asking, and Ben still thinks they're just checking. And I didn't see this coming at all. I mean, I thought the mom might still be alive, but when she's like, "Oh, my boy Wilson," I'm like, "What?"
Well, I will say once they met that person, then I saw it was an older woman. I went, "Oh, I bet you this is Wilson's mom alive." And it really is a great reveal, right? And then as you're trying to find this, you're like, wow, okay, wait a minute. What are we doing here? And, and Ben all of a sudden is, wait a minute, maybe I'm not out. And part of me feels like, to take care of his wife, he should be. But I also understand that that's not the show we're watching.
And she wouldn't want, and we know from when she's coherent, she wouldn't want him to. She would hate if he stopped being him to take care of her.
Yes.
And how the frick did she find her? I cannot wait to find out how Karen is really coming as a character. She's obviously not damsel in any respect, and I'm so happy about that.
Yes.
Absolutely. Of course, she had to be saved, but not in a way that wasn't believable. You know what I mean? I mean, a trained killer went to get her.
Right.
I would be helpless in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the scene at the formal fundraiser. I can't wait to see where they go with that. By the way, where them knowing who his mother is, because Fisk seems like the type. He's a mama's boy.
Well, and he even talks about that someone who values his privacy so much, why would I be out? And he says, because, I'm trying to make a difference. And so he doesn't want people knowing his business.
Well, he definitely doesn't want people knowing he killed his own father.
Good point, yes.
Now, at the formal black tie, we get that, again, you get that nice speech where he's... Now, did you catch the Easter egg from Leland?
I don't know if I did or not. What was it?
I didn't know. It was just the names rung a bell. So I don't know it offhand, so I looked it up. He says the name Van Lunt. Do you know who Van Lunt is?
No.
He's Taurus from Zodiac.
Ah, okay.
And he has a connection to, I believe I forget if it's, wait, I know I looked it up. I should look at it again. I forget if it's mystical or aliens or some kind of weird mix of, because Nick Fury, when Nick Fury had his, you remember when Nick Fury used the Scorpio persona to get information and that kind of thing? He was who he dealt with most of the time, I believe. Like, he was one of the people he fought. Let's see. I'm just 2 seconds, and then I'll be able to see. I believe it's space, like alien tech, but I think there might have been. Like he said, he even says he consulted his I forget how he puts it. Like.
Oh yeah, the
he advice from Van Lunt and his crackpot astrologer. That's how he put it.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
And I thought there might be a reference there, but
the name stood out to me because Marvel is known for their interesting names. Let's see. So he started off Van Lunt as a criminal. Like he started, it was called Zodiac. I think it was just Hack, but I'm not. Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, it looks like it wasn't magic. It was tech. That's yeah, it was still sci-fi. So we'll see if they go anywhere with that.
Okay.
And I think something
Okay.
very, of course, we even gets poisoned. Now I don't think she's gonna. I'm guessing they'll. I mean, do you think they would kill her?
This is Game of Thrones. If it was Game of Thrones, yes, she's dead. But I just can't believe that it's too good of a character, and romance and relationship is too interesting.
And now, I mean, there's so many suspects. It could be the Hand, it could be Leland, it could be Gal, it could be Gal and Leland. Because if you notice something, Leland
Yeah.
didn't take a drink.
No, he hadn't yet. And but the way he said someone can't afford their, can't hold their liquor, it makes me think he's not involved. Now that may just
Actually,
have
that made
been
me think he.
a
That made me
ploy
think
on his.
he was, because that sounded like something a villain would say.
Okay.
Like, oh, someone like that's
Okay.
like something with like Joker. Antoine got a little hot under the collar.
Okay.
I think, because well, we'll see, and we'll probably find out next up. I just, oh man, I can't wait to see what Fisk does. Because I mean, I think this is
Yes.
gonna be, I mean, actually, this is something I should think of. I can't believe well, we've kind of touched upon this before, but we keep talking about how this whole season is about Matt becoming Daredevil, but it's also about, because Fisk is Fisk, and Fisk is
Yes.
the
Is
kingpin.
not. He is not the kingpin yet, and you are totally right. This is the story of both of them finding their destinies.
So it should be good. I cannot wait to see what he does, and I'll probably start finding out because I'm gonna start watching the next episode as soon as we finish here. Been waiting an extra, been waiting an extra week because of you.
Yes,
and you ain't even getting anything at the convention you were at.
Yes.
But and then we get back to Foggy and Matt, and he's like, what, like again, like Foggy's like, what happens to us if you get caught? I mean, what are you doing, Matt? And it's so.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt says, he says, the city needs me.
Yes.
And Foggy's like, maybe, and Foggy says, maybe it's true, but I don't need you like this. And also, again, he's like comparing him to Fisk and that stuff. And he says, you wouldn't have told me. He's like, yeah, I definitely would have told you. But it's one of those things, it's hard when you keep a secret from someone. And you keep it, like, you don't tell them that week because they can't know yet, but then the next week comes, and the next week, and it just gets away from you.
Yes. It is. You have this. It becomes a thing now. How do I do this? And to be a little bit on Matt's side, whenever he had told Foggy, he would have asked, why have you not told me before? And kind of, well, so it got to be a thing where I don't know how to do this, right? So we'll see what happens.
And then, of course, well, that's the important part about this and why the show works. They don't deal in black and white. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. It's just life, and that really works. And
yes,
then we get the scene where they're like, "Oh, we're gonna be lawyers. We're gonna change the world." And then they do that great cutaway from the napkin to the plaque, and Foggy throws it out and leaves. Oh, I cannot wait to see what happens next, because, like, how is he gonna explain it to Karen?
Yes.
So many builds in this episode, so many feels, great character, all of it. Not a whole lot of fighting in this episode, but I thought obviously they couldn't because Matt was recuperating. I wonder how long they're gonna let. Maybe that's Matt's recuperating because the next episode isn't about his fight; it's about Fist. Because that could be, and of course it's about all right, let's wrap this up again.
All right, very nice.
What do you think? Yeah. Final thoughts in this episode?
Just a really, really great episode. In fact, I would give this 10 not said but implied Elektra references.
We're going intangible for this one, huh?
Yes. Just a great everything you would want Foggy to say, he says. Everything that you would want Matt to say, he says. And even though they both are being honest, can't get out of each other's way, and it's just a great high point of the series in a series that is filled with high points. Very, very happy.
We got 3 more episodes left, and then we got to wait another year.
I know. Yes,
Well, let's hope they do Iron Fist in the meantime. That would be a great thing to do. Have
absolutely.
Daredevil early in the year and like Iron Fist later in the, or so. I think Iron Fist is the next one they're doing.
I think so.
And I'm
Yeah,
not sure
I
which
agree.
Marvel heroes I'm doing the next. I call dibs on Punisher because I love Punisher.
All right,
Okay,
very
so my
cool.
final thoughts is like I said, just so much stuff built. Great, they get so many. They get just this show. They get so many. It just this will be like every so often a comic book since the comic book. I guess you call it boom rebirth. Every so often something comes along that says the it can be done. It doesn't have to be stupid. It doesn't have to. It can be its own entity. I think this show, as much as I like the Flash, and the Flash is good, this show more than a lot I've seen, shows that you can change things. You can make characters or like make it doesn't have to be an exact adaptation book. This is one of the episodes that shows that it can be its own thing while still being faithful to the material it comes from.
Yeah, I believe that this show brings it to a different level. And I am, I just am so glad that I got to see it. I'm glad, I've got to talk about it. And we got 3 episodes left, and we will see what, excuse me, happens.
Hmm.
Right?
So I believe that's
Yes.
all for this week. We will try to record a new episode
Yes.
this week, but we'll see.
We are certainly hoping. Zach, where can
You
they
can always
find
find me on
you?
Facebook on any of the Facebook podcast pages I go from, and it still will take us too long to list them all. But of course, you can just find me on Facebook,
Yeah.
Zachary Hare, if you want to chat me up, and of course on Twitter, Infram Insanity.
I am at JWJ170104 on Twitter. I am also on Facebook and Jesse Jackson in Louisville, Texas. Please let us know your thoughts. Send us in some feedback. And all we need to remember now is we Murdocks get hit a lot, but we always get up. Thanks, everyone. See you soon.